All right, so we all saw this play. We watched this game. We know that the Dallas Cowboys choked. They had the chance to win it, and they blew it. And everyone's saying this is such a stupid play. Why would you do something like this? And I'm going to tell you that it's not the worst thing that you could have done. There's a lot of things you could have done in this situation, and there's a lot of things that I would have done differently in this game. But this little quarterback draw, quarterback power, whatever you want to call it, wasn't the worst thing. I would have done it slightly differently. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it, how I would have done it in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the drive before when they went for it on 4th and 10 and didn't get it, 4th and 11. I don't remember quite exactly what it was, but it sounds stupid like that. And I would have punted. They're at midfield. You punt the ball, get it down inside the 10, and then you stop San Francisco like they did. They got a little lucky with that, the penalty, whatever. But you stop San Francisco. They're not even going to think about going for it because they're down inside their own, in their own territory. They're not going to risk giving you the ball back there when you need to touch on to win the game. They're not going to give you the ball at like the 30, wherever that would have been. They punt it to you. You probably get the ball back to 30, 40 instead of the 20. They got lucky with that touchback because if that's a good punt, then that screws you there, but you have better field position. And then when you're trying to run these plays, the play that the draw started at the 40, at the San Francisco 40, that's maybe at the San Francisco 30, and then you're not thinking about doing that. But they had a really good drive that led up to this. I want to talk about that first because you ran this little trick play, Cedric Wilson to C Lamb, that got you 15. You're at the 40. They ran this halfback screen next. That was great. It was just they're running three deep. They're playing prevent and they have nobody on the boundary. That's what they switched to. That's why San Francisco called a timeout. They switched and they put a man on the boundary. You can see here. There's no one on the boundary at the top. So you just do that little pitch and he's easy to get out of bounds and you get a 20-yard gain on first down. That's huge. You're trying to march on the field to score. You get 20 yards. That's a huge start to the drive. This play here, this is going to be that screen. You can see Dak taking care of the offense. You got 24 seconds left. You're low on time, but they got themselves. They did a really good job getting to the point where they made that mistake of letting the clock run out. So you get 10 on the screen here, and then the next play is just another 10-yard out. So the next one goes to the tight end, and then I believe it runs down to 14 seconds. So you get 10 yards in 4 seconds. You're on pace you could keep doing that. They're not going to give it to you, but you can keep doing that until you're in the end zone. They're not going to give it to you, but you're doing good on time here. You got the 20-yard gain, 10-yard gain, and 10-yard gain. So they put themselves in a position. Watch, this is going to be an out route to the tight end. Only runs for a second off. So see, if you look at it, there's no corner on the boundary. As you see in the next play, they call a timeout and move their guys around. So there's a 10-yard out, and 14 seconds. You're at the San Francisco 40-yard line, 41, 40 and a half, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. This is now when San Francisco calls a timeout. They needed to do this because you can't allow this. You got to have guys in the boundary. You tackle them in bounds once and the game's over. Dallas has no timeouts. They're going to try and run up to spike it, but we saw what happens when they did it last time. It's not going to be as well set up because they knew they were doing this here. So here's when San Fran calls their last timeout. They're trying to set up these guys on the boundary. They're trying to get up that guy 5 yards away. As they come out next, you see Shanahan talks it over. They got these guys on the boundary. They got everything set up the way they should. See, you got the guys 5 yards away on the boundary. They're like, take 20 yards in the middle of the field. We don't care. You're not getting out of bounds. So that's what Dallas does. They run this quarterback power, quarterback draw, whatever you call it. Works great, right? Get them down to the 25, 15-yard gain. You spike it, and you got a good chance. You got a good distance to make a play. 25-yarder tossing his own should be able to do it, right? So let's look at this play again. What they should do is they're on the left hash. They should have the right tackle pull to the left. I freeze it here. Instead of blocking this edge guy or the right guard, you have them pull to the left and block these outside guys to get Dak Prescott out of bounds. Here's it in slow motion. You're on the left hash, your right tackle and right guard on the far side. Your right tackle seals the edge or your tight end. If you could set up 6 there instead of 5, something I would have done. And your right tackle and your right guard are pulling, and that's who Dak's following. They're leading the way like a halfback sweep, quarterback sweep, whatever you want to call it. They're sealing that edge, and they're leading the way, and they're guiding Dak Prescott out of bounds. You get a block on this linebacker coming over, and then you get a block on that corner, and Dak Prescott easily gets out of bounds around the 30, and then you got 10 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever you want to call it. That's 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is. That is 2 chances from the 30-yard line to throw the ball in the end zone. One play takes 6 seconds, and then you got one more shot at it. And then you even have the opportunity with that much time on the clock. They're protecting the end zone, take an out route at the 10, and then you got to play from the 10 to try to win the game. That's what I would have done. I think it worked a lot better for them. But I like the concept of trying to run the ball. And then the fans at the end of the game, it just didn't work. If you run that sweep, get out of bounds, you got perfect opportunity to try and put it in the end zone. And you see Dak here. He's talking about the game. He's always going to get his endorsements. Look at him with the double Gatorade. That's why I think it wasn't a bad play call. It almost worked.